NRW Gaming. I'm Patrick, and I'm joined by my homies KPRM Gaming, Lewis Bailey.
What's up there?
I got Dalek Select Dale.
Hey, what's up?
And I got, of course, not really nerdy Marky Mark.
Yo.
So, this is NRW Gaming. We've got a very important topic that has hit the interwebs. Well, for me this past week, it's taken over my timeline. And it's in regards to a game that has taken over, I think, pretty much the world. It's the hottest game right now. It's called Red Dead Redemption 2.
I thought it was called Cowboy Simulator, sir.
That is true.
Cowboy Simulator.
It's the cowboy simulator of your dreams. You can live your life out in the wild, wild west.
Listen to me. We don't want to kill any of you. But trust me, we will. Wake them up a little!
This whole thing is pretty much done. We're more ghosts than people.
You have got to keep faith. They will not crush us.
Good old Dutch. My best friend. You know how we met? Pair of hucksters trying to rob each other. Back in 78 or thereabouts.
You have to love yourself a fire. It's one of the blessings. Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a robbery.
Sons of Dutch. Makes us brothers. Sometimes, brothers make mistakes.
You'll never change. I know that.
All of you venerate savagery. And you will die savagely.
Get out here! Stay strong. Stay with me. You have to love yourself a fire.
Product not yet rated.
Taking over all my friends' timeline, and a very interesting thread happened for me today while I was watching and tracking all of my friends' misadventures in this cowboy simulator. For those of us that are POC, a little bit lighter pale skin, for those that are not of light pale skin like you, my friend, but you know we have love for you, Lewis. But for those of us of color, when we've chosen to actually represent ourselves in the game, especially my brothers of the dark descent, my African American friends, I have a friend, lovely friend, my girl Asia. Shout out to my girl Asia, who kind of started this thread topic on my Facebook timeline. She's an African American woman, and she is in game. She's doing the online beta thing where you can actually be in this Wild Wild West with the rest of the world. From what I understand, the experience she's having is because she's chosen to be an African American woman. There's a set of white gamers out there that are posseing up and looking for African American characters in game to rape, destroy, kill. I don't know. I haven't played the game yet, but basically, a lot of us game to get away from the reality of the world, and because we have an orange Cheeto as president, a lot of racists feel emboldened, and there's a lot of bad drama. Well, we always know racist is always happening. There's a lot of that.
White House.
But you know, we go to gaming to kind of get away from that. Yeah. And so now with this beta, you know, we just want to be a cowboy, but now we have white gamers ganging up. But you know what? To that, one of the things that was brought up in the thread is a lot of my POC friends are just going to crew up and then, you know, just to help defend themselves from these white gamers that are coming after them. So I want to talk a little bit about that, we have, racism crossing over from reality to the game world. And from what I also understand is in the regular story mode, the AI of the game, the concept as well, because it is taking place in the Wild Wild West and back in the day, that the AI is also built to give you a little bit rougher time if you are of color. That I don't have too much of a problem with because
It's
they're
part of
trying
the
to
story.
be
It's
part of the story mode, but it's where the online gaming comes into play, and you have young white racists calling you the N-word and all of that. So, how do y'all feel about that? I haven't played the game. I know you have, Lewis. You're playing it, and my man Marky Mark, and we got my boy Dale in because he's a gamer as well to talk a little bit of your background and respected to this. Let's get into it, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know, where do we want to begin? I mean, we can, if you're not
Let's
familiar,
go with the AI regular story mode
Okay.
before we go into like playing with other people online.
So yeah, so this, when you're looking at story mode, this takes place in 1899. This is the whole Wild West. It's not set up in a actual United States, but in a fictional setting of the West. So 1899, we look back at that history, and minorities are very low at the bottom tier in terms of rights, in terms of what power, the money, their social standing. That's the way the times are. And you see that white America is in charge of basically everything, of lawmaking, of power, of basically everything.
Yeah.
That's the way things are set up back then. You can see a lot of this in the game, yes, where you'll see black Americans that are living either in the swamplands or they're living out in the country. They're poor. They don't have much food. They don't have much clothing on them to represent the way things were in the times. You can also find a sect of the KKK having rallies out in the middle of the night in the forest that are bringing in new members to the situation.
I want to pause you right there. One of the things I've heard about that game was that aspect of it.
Yes.
I love that because from what I understand is you can go slaughter all these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, I do want to preface with all of what we're saying, talking about. Red Dead is a great game. We're not talking bad about the game in regards to the developers and what they created. Well, at least that's how I feel. It's a period piece.
Exactly.
It's more so the. We are going to talk about the AI part, but I think we all agree that it's a period piece. It's the other outside gaming element world that crept in. But Red Dead Redemption people, because we'd love to have you sponsor our show and everything like that. Don't want to bust on that bubble, but yeah.
So
one of the things that makes me want to buy the game is the fact I can go slaughter a bunch of KKK guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a period piece, and there is a person online who had some YouTube controversy recently. You probably know his names better than I would, but he has brought up other social standings in that point where women are also trying to fight for women's rights during this time. The feminist activists, and there are videos where the main character is taking this woman, punching her in the face. Then he lassos her up, takes her out to a swamp, and feeds her to an alligator. And YouTube blew up about this. Took down the guy's channel because they stated that the content that he's making is purposely trying to upset people, and then went back and reopened his account because he had constantly been doing this previously with other videos, such as I'm bringing a black person to that KKK meeting and dropping him there to see what happens. And is this very controversial of what people do in gamings? I mean, that's a bit extreme. But we've seen extremities in gaming for a very long time. Now, if you were to play it as it's meant to be played, you're not going to really experience a whole lot of that. I haven't gone through all that because I'm dealt more into the actual character building of Arthur Morgan, who is an amazing character. And that whole set piece of his story is really built around him. But the world that it is definitely 1899. And if you're not familiar with that, the things that you're going to see are going to be very shocking to you, and you're going to question.
You didn't pay attention in history class.
Exactly. And that's a whole side note that these are things in history that aren't really taught in our education system anymore. Now, being that to the side, we open this to a online event so people can join this world and play together. I have not had the ability to do so because I don't have a PSN account, unfortunately. But hearing the tales that white players are going after black characters in the game, that is extreme. That sounds very extreme, and I know in the gaming community is very hardcore and extreme things to happen. But I will say this is not the first time. This happens over and over and over. I think everybody knows who grew up with PC gaming, Counter-Strike, where all the biggest word that everybody knows is the N-word.
Well, you
Every
get that.
single
You get that, and that level of toxicity in a lot of those games, especially like I played in many of the multiplayer games, like going from Counter Strike, going to, I played Counter Strike for quite some time, and I stopped playing after. Well, more so got bored of it, but yeah, there's a lot of toxicity. Rainbow Six is one that was most recent, and you hear that all the time. Focusing on this game specifically, and I haven't played it, but the multiplayer aspect, from what I'm hearing, I mean, you're giving you're setting the time period is in the 19th century. You're giving these people the ability to portray the people of that time, and you kind of like, you give a pyromaniac a match and some wood, they're gonna set something on fire. And in this case, it's pretty much, from what I'm hearing, is the situation with this game. And if since this is beta, now thinking about it, what I could see possibly happening, and if this is the case, that somehow Rockstar, if they figure out a way to do this like they did with GTA, is when they initially had GTA 5, they had the stock market, and in the game, the stock market, basically, people were taking advantage of it, and they were and they basically were cheating the stock market, and then they eventually had to close it. So now they probably would end up setting something up in a way that would either punish or ban people for basically partaking in a racist mentality, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I'm hearing with the game, yeah. But you're gonna get all sorts of people, and I don't agree with that mentality, of course.
And if I can add to that, I mean, we see the evolution of games, that we are just given more and more options, and the world's become bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is the interesting that I see from this. If you're given an MMO where you have the choice of making a white, Chinese, black character, you have PvP in the game, nobody has done it in a way that, if you go back to medieval times, things were way worse back then compared to the 1899s. But since this is a period piece, and we clearly see that this is white America, the black and the Chinese are down on the social standards, and white America is in charge, this is giving them full power to really say, I want to be in this period piece. But I think gamers are taking it extreme to the extreme, that, as you said, black players are going to now collaborate, posse up to fight this, threat against them. Which I think in this game, you got to do what you got to do, and I don't think that's bad, to fight against racism and such. If this was a real life scenario, no way would I ever stand for this, and I'd be, even in this, in a gamer sense, I'm a bit ashamed that white players would act like this in a game. But at the same time, as you said, they've been given a match that they can light a fire and have full hands and reins on.
Anytime you open up a game to an online community, there's going to be trolls. There's going to be people that are toxic. There's going to be people that just want to record something to
controversial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
because one of the things I think you can rope tie them up and everything. I haven't played the game, but from what I'm understanding, that's somebody was sharing some of these images that was in the thread I was looking at. Like, that's the thing. These white gamers are posseing up, tying up, recording those videos and all that, and posting it and sharing that stuff. And so the solution, as far as my group of friends that we were on this thread, well, now we're just going to crew up and go right back at them.
To that
So,
point, just
yeah.
because their character's white, they might not even actually be white.
Yeah.
Correct.
kinda-
Yeah,
it's
that's
kinda wound
a
out.
good point, Brock.
I
It's
was,
And
Oh, go.
well, I was trying to make my character, and just trying to make a guy that looks somewhat like me
Yeah.
was kind of difficult to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
excuse me. The other thing that I've seen about this is if people want Rockstar to respond to this in a way to stop this, I have to probably play devil's advocate and say they're probably not going to do anything about it, because this is a tool, this is a sandbox that they have created for people to do what they want, and unfortunately, when you give people free reign and a world to do whatever they want, it's all hands on deck. You're in a fantasy world where you have the freedom to do whatever you want. And when you live in a world where you have to feel so self-constrained and play by the rules, and you're able to escape to a reality where rules no longer apply, the devil can come out of you. And we see this from a lot of toxic gamers. And seeing that technology gets better, the amount of harassment also gets much worse.
Mm-hmm.
And even just to take it off of the racial and the hatred, we see that the gaming community has even become hostile towards developers on what they're going to accept and what they're not going to accept.
Yeah.
Now that's a whole side tangent, but it is very shocking to see those types of things. I would not condone anybody to be playing like that. I, for one, am a co-op gamer. I'm not really too competitive unless we're playing, Overwatch.
Yeah.
But Overwatch, we're all playing
For
different
fun.
characters and stuff, so I'm not wondering if this person's black, white, or Asian.
Yeah.
I'm here just to be, my guy and beat people up with my hammer and save the day and cause destruction. I'm not wondering, like, my character's white, I'm going to kill all the black people. That's not what I play games for.
And I have to give a hands up to Rockstar in terms of the AI. I think it's fantastic that they even had the thought to say, you know what, if you're going to play as a black character, life's going to be significantly harder for you. If they had a Native American option, the fact that, they went there and said, no, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we have a very romanticized view
Yeah. Oh yeah.
of what time was like back then. So on the one hand, for me personally, I want to see Rockstar keep pushing that envelope.
Yeah.
And I struggle with this a little bit because as unsavory as it is to see all this play out, but I think it's important to see it play out because
Correct.
I think in some aspects because we didn't see what our parents and our grandparents saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to be reminded of what that was like, So on the one hand, as much as I hate it, I also think it can also be a great way to educate people who keep trying to look the other way, and it's like, nope.
Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of a spoiler, and there is one other topic that we did not discuss about the Native Americans of the time. This is also a big time period when America is starting to take more and more away from the Native Americans in terms of land to get oil, and they're destroying their homes, they're running them away. And the Native Americans that you see have always tried to do things in a safe manner to never cause war or strife, because they know what they are facing is way more powerful for them, and they really can't fight. And we kind of see what our generation is going through from their perspective as the older Indian tribes. Their young generation wants to fight back, but the older generation is about, we have to negotiate, we have to try to work and work deals. Even as much as they break these deals time and time again, we have to talk, we have to come up with a solution. And you go through instances in this game with Arthur where you see at the forefront, the white man is taking full advantage and they are openly destroying things from the Native Americans. And when I got to that part, I felt enraged. Like, you did this. You are going to die. And I put them to death for this. Like, there is no... And there are moments in this game that capture that essence. And it makes you reflect, like on those situations of, I didn't even hesitate. This guy destroyed this innocent person's stuff for no reason at all. And no, I have no remorse. I'm putting him down. You deserve to die. And it makes you reflect on exactly the choices that you make in your life, whether it be back then or even today, on how are you going to be affected when these things happen. And I think Rockstar does an amazing job giving us pieces like that.
By any chance, did you watch? Anybody watch the John Leguizamo?
Oh yes,
stand-up?
yes.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, that's watching this video, you should watch that. It breaks down like the entire what happened to the Native Americans,
Yes.
just to give you a backstory. So that's something.
And they
to watch.
called them savages.
Exactly.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So,
all right, so let's go in regard to the game, the AI story mode, which is generally what most people are playing, that couldn't get on the beta and do the open world element aspect of it. We're okay with the AI reflecting the time for most of us.
Yeah,
I think that's the
Like you
consensus.
said, it's a cowboy
You know,
simulator.
even though,
It is.
so I will. So we'll basically say that if you're looking to escape this with gaming from your reality, you're not going to get that in this game because that's not how this game is constructed. It's going to reflect the time, and then so
and given the online component, that's going to be a whole different ballpark,
Yeah.
especially from how people are. But
yeah.
yeah.
So now flipping it to the open world aspect, I don't know if I want to play that. Well, actually, if when I heard that my friends were crewing up to go against these cats, that actually sounds like fun. Okay, so we're gonna come out because since we got some racist online gamers, okay, I'm gonna squad up. Although I'm not on PSN, so my Xbox gamers, if y'all want to crew up, I'll crew up with y'all. But you're gonna come at us, we're gonna come at you. There's virtue of this online world, but again, at the same time, I hope this doesn't breed further racism and more, because that could again keep those wheels going with that.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery slope with this,
Yeah,
with the
just
online element.
Very
just
tricky.
because you're playing in a period piece where
Yeah.
racism
doesn't mean you
is
have to play that
on the
piece.
forefront.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, that doesn't give you the right to just, I could go all ham and be a KKK member.
Yeah.
No, we all understand that is in the world because that's the period piece.
Yeah.
But you need to understand constraint of what you do, and especially everybody's doing Twitch, everybody's recording everybody can see exactly what you're doing. So, think of, you're a 13-year-old and you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and you're openly doing these things on Twitch. How many of your schoolmates are watching you play? You come back to school after that weekend and you're going to have all the minorities looking at you, ready to beat you down.
All right, I think this is a topic that's going to further gain heat. It's starting to really pick up. Red Dead is taking over, and now with a lot of this happening and starting to pile up, we might be talking about this again. So let's see. But let's just get along, people. Somebody had to bring that up.
Yeah.
All right. Let us know in the comments what you think, and let's continue on this conversation.